the kind of heart and essence of the East Side is really fighting to be retained.
Preservation versus progress. It's one of the main concerns in Dignowity Hill, and it's what brings us to the area. In this episode of Know My Neighborhood, we explore the fight to hold on to history while focusing on the future.
It's seconds from downtown. You can hop on your bike, go downhill, hardly have to pedal, and boom, there you are.
Plus, with views of the skyline from your front door, people call this neighborhood San Antonio's best-kept secret. But that proximity to downtown presents challenges, like access to big grocery stores and a large community of unhoused people, those who live on the streets and are also considered neighbors.
This is where the people are. We want to be in the heart of the homeless situation. We want to be very, very close to downtown area because most of them accumulate around this area. So we want to be where the problem was.
In Know My Neighborhood, Dignowity Hill, we address the concerns of the people who live here, who work here, who know it best, and get a sense of the compassion that makes this place so unique. It's an hour-long episode, and it starts right now.
Hello and welcome to the theater at the Carver Community Cultural Center for KSAT's live neighborhood newscast. It's a major hub for families, history, and entertainment here in Dignowity Hill, and now the epicenter of this episode of Know My Neighborhood. Good evening. I'm Steve Spriester.
And I'm Myra Arthur. You've heard just a little bit about Dignowity Hill, but there is so much more we will share over this next hour, including a tradition that exists here that is very unique. It is one that turns people from strangers into neighbors and friends.
It was a great way to get to learn the ins and outs of Dignowity and really figure out what this place is all about. Welcome to Dignowity Park. Usually during Know My Neighborhood, we take car tours to get to know a neighborhood. But in this episode, we're going porch to porch, a porch parade. It's a great way to get to know your neighbors and a neighborhood.
It's a walkable community. We walk to the grocery store. We walk to the Riverwalk. We walk to restaurants and bars.
We get to see people walking around all the time. And so we can't imagine living anywhere else.
It's just about being a neighbor. It's about being a friend. It's about being a good community member. And that's what we're doing here.
Is this kind of the spirit of the neighborhood when you go to these different porches and meet different people?
Most definitely. I mean, I think it suits the neighborhood because you see the community. You see how welcoming everybody is and how open everybody is.
Yeah. Where were you before you were here?
We were in Westover Hills.
Yeah.
So a little inside the loop from Alamo Ranch. When you have a neighborhood that does sort of gel together the way that we've noticed that this one does, people say, how can we help people stay here? Even filling out homestead exemption forms. How do we help people do those things that they may not know about so they can stay here for a few more generations as well?
Yeah, that's a taxes thing. I mean,
it is.
Taxes are an issue.
It's crazy. It's crazy. We pay double the taxes here that we did in Westover Hills.
This is one of the quickest gentrifying neighborhoods still continuously over the past decade. That is a challenge to face. It's difficult to say you don't want the increase in amenities and investment, but at the same time, you don't want the increase in your property value. That's a balance we haven't really figured out yet. So that is still a frustrating challenge for us.
What is the biggest stereotype about Dignowity Hill that you don't agree with?
That it's a dangerous neighborhood. I think maybe it was in the past. I've only been here about 3 years. So it's still got that stigma that I think a lot of inner city neighborhoods have.
I would say, as someone who grew up over here, there's still a misconception about it being a dangerous neighborhood. We've got new neighbors moving in and they've heard those rumors in the past. Honestly, my reflection on it is it's decreasing. It's definitely going down. We still got a little bit of trouble, but I mean, honestly, what neighborhood doesn't nowadays?
Those porch parades really do show how this neighborhood comes together. You got to experience that.
Yeah.
That's what's happening now, but Dignowity Hill wasn't always open to everyone.
Well, back in the 1800s, though, Dignowity Hill was the place where titans of business and leaders in industry raised their families. It was made a historic district about 20 years ago, but as our Jessica Delgado reports, there is a lot of history in Dignowity Hill, but for some, it's also home.
Oh my God, those same candelabras. Seeing them brought tears to her eyes and a flood of memories.
And we used to take pictures in front of these candelabras.
Little did Nancy Reed and her brother Frank Rhodes know that their childhood home would someday be in the Dignowity Hill Historic District, San Antonio's first affluent neighborhood. Looking back, the siblings say just living here was significant in and of itself.
An African American able to purchase a home.
Unheard of at one time, since people like their parents weren't always allowed to live here. In building their stately homes here well over a century ago, the city's wealthiest families did what a Czech immigrant couple had done. The home of Dr. Anthony Michael Dignowity and his wife Amanda, known as Harmony House, stood at the highest point of the hill that bears their name. They wanted to live somewhere with a view and without any low-lying areas. Eventually falling into disrepair, Harmony House was demolished decades later.
And in its place is the park that's surrounded by the history that abounds in Dignowity Hill.
From the city's oldest African-American church, St. Paul United Methodist, established in 1866, to its expansive historic cemeteries, including a national cemetery, each with notable figures who are buried there. And before it became the nationally renowned Carver Community Cultural Center,
Black people couldn't go to the libraries. We had to have our own segregated library.
Still, as San Antonio grew, change was inevitable. As prominent families moved to newer affluent neighborhoods, African Americans who worked for the railroads and others moved in, making the neighborhood more their own.
A middle-class neighborhood, still very proud and hardworking.
Although many of the 19th century homes bearing well-known names were demolished, there's still the former home of Ed Friedrich, founder of Friedrich Refrigeration, and the home of Emil Elmendorf, whose family owned a hardware business where City Hall is now, still stands and it's been undergoing additional renovations. The families who once lived in houses like this are long gone, but the history remains.
In the houses, in the stories that people tell, in the memories that they have of growing up here.
Hold those near and dear to your heart like I do.
I hadn't been in here in a long time. What's this like?
Memories that brought her to tears. Jesse Degollado joins us now. Jesse, Dignowity is named that because?
Because of Dr. Dignowity, a respected physician, but also a very outspoken abolitionist. So much so that his son had to warn him, Dad, they want to hang you. And so he had to basically get out of town to save his own life. And so he wasn't able to come back till after the Civil War. And when he did get back, he realized that the Confederate Army had taken over his property on Dignowity Hill, obviously for a logistical, strategic point, looking down on the city.
Yeah. So he had to fight to get it back.
He had to fight to get it back. And when he finally got it back, talk about interesting, a little twist of, ironic twist of justice. He ended up selling part of that land that he confiscated, that he got back from the Confederates. He sold it to the U.S. Army so that they could start building Fort Sam Houston.
And there is so much more history to this neighborhood that we weren't even able to include here.
Exactly, which is why if you'll go to our website, we have 10 points of historical interest about Dignowity Hill, because like I say, it's all around us.
History on every corner in this neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Jesse, thank you so much for that story. I loved it. By the way, this neighborhood really does have so much history. You've probably seen it if you've been out and about, including none other than the Hayes Street Bridge.
Iconic for its breathtaking views overlooking downtown, this bridge was installed in the early 1900s to ensure that the east side could access downtown.
It was restored in 2000 and designated a Texas Historic Civil Engineering Landmark in 2001. Now it's a place people from all over are drawn to here in Dignowity Hill.
An overall theme of this neighborhood is the title of this episode, Preservation versus Progress. So that applies to a lot of the businesses that are relatively new to the neighborhood.
Yeah, this theater, a great example of preservation, but our Adam Caskey is where some of the progress is being made. New businesses moving in, like a brewery and a pizza place. Adam.
Yes, and it's fantastic and fun to be here. Just the atmosphere of the local pub, you know, the history of the local pub. The public house is where people gather. Families can gather. People can come and share news and converse. And that's what you're seeing here this evening. Families come in here to eat, have their pizza. They also have sandwiches as well. And it's a scratch kitchen, let me tell you. They make their own bread, their own focaccia bread and dough. So talk about scratch kitchen. And if you look way in the back, you'll see some stainless steel. That's where the beer is brewed, right here, all on site. Local business, been around for 3 years. And get this, they opened the Saturday before COVID hit and everything got shut down. So talk about an obstacle, but they're still here and they're growing.
Dignowity. It just sounds right. Any other way sounds weird.
Shorthand is Diggy Hill.
I personally say downtown Diggity, but that's just a me thing.
It's Dignowity. I don't know because I just moved here.
We say Dignowity. That's what we've just been told, you know, from the locals around here.
Welcome back to Know My Neighborhood, Dignowity Hill. We are live here inside the Carver Theater, nestled right in the heart of Dignowity Hill. And we've been talking about how rich the history is here. It seems like almost every building, every home has a story.
And that has attracted people to this area to invest and revitalize homes throughout. But as Marilyn Moritz explains, all that investment might be too much of a good thing.
I had to put all new plumbing, all new electricity.
Dee Smith bought an old abandoned bungalow at auction for $3,200, sight unseen.
It's like a haunted house. And I almost cried.
Now, 16 years later, it's all fixed up and it's valued at $600,000.
Started going.
Climbing through the gable roof. 10 years ago, the average here was a very modest $41,000. 5 years later, $138,000 to now $270,000. And that brings fatter tax bills.
People are being priced out of their homes.
Evelyn Brown's lived on this corner since she was 10, a witness to the gentrification. You see it on the streets lined with Victorian renos, modern builds, next to humble homes in disrepair. Brown turns away investors who come knocking.
I don't care what they're offering.
You're not moving?
I'm not moving. You know, one time you couldn't give away the east side. Now it's like, I can't wait till I get my hands on it, you know. So it's been quite a drastic change.
It's not so much the houses that are soaring in value, it's the land. It's no longer dirt cheap. This vacant lot was worth about $8,000 10 years ago, and now more than $200,000.
Done really well.
Craftsman?
It's a craftsman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jamie Rowan is a real estate broker who lives here, lured by location and vibe.
I think it's very appealing to a younger kind of working population who want to live in and around downtown San Antonio.
Like Deborah Logan. She's thrilled she just bought her first home.
There's always concerns because as values rise, sometimes your paycheck isn't rising to meet those needs.
And property values are likely to rise even more because they follow the sales.
So the average sold price this year so far is around $338,000.
Most of those sales, house flippers, sort of a bad word around here.
They don't hate the fact that people are coming in and renovating homes. They just want them to do a quality job and abide by the rules that have been set forth by HDRC.
Like Rowan, many here are excited for the rebirth, but...
Do I want to walk outside of my house and 2 blocks later I'm at the best coffee shop in the city? Yes, but at what expense?
And that's the challenge, building a future that's fair to all who call Dignowity Hill home.
And Marilyn joins us here live at the Carver. So Marilyn, what do neighbors want here?
Well, what they want is for the developers to respect the history and not try to cram 4 homes onto a single lot. They want more affordable housing. Like the rest of the city, they want property tax relief. But since they're already paying those higher taxes, they just want something to show for it.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marilyn. Love that story.
Appreciate it. Okay, one look at a view here that we're going to show you. It is picturesque. Take a look at this. You can see why so many people are drawn to this area. A lot of people we heard from said that view is a big reason, and the proximity to downtown. This is one neighbor's view of the city. You have a clear view of the Alamo Dome, downtown buildings. It is something that a lot of people pay for.
It is beautiful, and it's attracting businesses like the business that our Adam Caskey is at right now. Adam.
Yeah, talk about the definition of a local neighborhood community business here at Black Laboratory Brewing. And let me tell you, and as a home brewer, I know no better place to get good beer fresh than actually at the brewery. And they do the brewing in the back. We'll take you in that room coming up at 6:45. Black Laboratory Brewing. And I say, pubs are traditionally, in history, the place where people gather and families. Ethan, high five me, buddy. Yeah. 4-year-old Ethan having his pizza here.
Welcome back to Dignowity Hill. This East Side neighborhood has an ecosystem of service organizations, groups that are here to outreach and help the homeless population that exists here.
Yeah, they say a common place for gathering is under the Hayes Street Bridge. Right here you see it. Some neighbors are concerned that so many groups in such a small community is actually causing the number of homeless encampments to rise in this neighborhood.
Our Avery Everett takes a look at both sides of this issue and something that both tend to agree on, the need for more affordable housing.
This building will come all the way down.
Even if the plan hasn't always stayed the same.
There were some changes in the blueprints.
George Frederick says there's only one purpose behind building a new community center.
This is where the people are. We want to be in the heart of the homeless situation.
As the president of Hope House Ministries out on Cherry Street, Frederick says he wants to help people.
I think we need to quit trying to get rid of them and start helping them.
Most of his clients are either homeless or previously incarcerated. Hope House is just one of 5 social service groups nestled in this neighborhood, with more sitting out on the perimeter. All serve in different ways, but most lend a hand to those facing homelessness.
Everybody needs help.
As some see it, this many groups shows a push for progress in the homeless community. But some Dignowity Hill residents worry the amount of social service groups in this neighborhood brings more people without shelter to Dignowity streets.
For me, I guess the concern is safety.
Some neighbors take concern over the number of encampments between the highway and the Hayes Street Bridge. With an increase in the city's budget, they've been able to do more encampment cleanouts across the city. And in the Hayes Street Bridge area alone, there have been 9 sweeps across October and November. This place has actually become a weekly stop for some city crews. But some people in this neighborhood say they're still searching for a long-term solution.
Without a housing component, I think we're just going to continue to see, a higher number of encampments.
Neighbors say they've seen trash fires, aggressive arguments, and people relieving themselves in public.
Just because it's been going on for a long time doesn't mean that, it should be going on.
One neighbor who asked to remain anonymous moved to this neighborhood a couple of years ago. They say they knew Dignowity Hill had a homeless population, but there were still unknowns.
I don't think I knew all of the organizations that were here.
A list of organizations that Robert Galan III says should be accounted for.
That's where the need is. The shelter shouldn't be far away.
Across the board, shelters like the Salvation Army and social service groups like Hope House say they're only in Dignowity Hill because the homeless population is in Dignowity Hill.
The shelter's there because that homeless person is there.
We want to be where the problem was, in a sense.
But until there's a better way to bridge the gap,
we have to learn how to live with people and not reject them, not get rid of them.
There's still work to be done in connecting people across this community.
And like we said at the beginning, this is really a microcosm of what our city is dealing with in so many different neighborhoods. How to deal with the homeless population and be respectful, but also respect people who live in homes nearby.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we heard in this neighborhood is that compassion, that, urge to call people their neighbors, even if they don't have homes.
Good food, great food places all over town.
The people are super nice, super welcoming. They've opened their arms to us and have accepted us.
They have really fun breweries, this, Alamo, and other fun, things that are starting to pop up.
Everyone's real involved. I like what they're doing with the space, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of growth here in the neighborhood.
Welcome back to the second half hour of KSAT's Know My Neighborhood. This episode focused on Dignowity Hill, or Diggy, as some neighbors call it. We've talked about the history, the great history in this neighborhood, about gentrification, about living next to homeless encampments, and what people love about Dignowity Hill.
And there's a lot of change that has taken place here too, but some things, it seems, have stayed the same. Katrina Weber tells us why some neighbors here say their neighborhood remains at the bottom of the food chain.
There's a restaurant right here on the corner, and then there's, of course, Little Caesars way down there.
When it comes to places where Kristen Ratcliffe can find food in her neighborhood, she says the menu is somewhat limited.
There's the Chinese restaurant down the street there. There's pizza, but it's all fast food.
While there's always a quick bite nearby, she and some of her neighbors say a good bite is another question.
If you want to eat anything even remotely healthy, it's not in your neighborhood at all.
Melanie Cardenas is new to these parts, although she grew up not far from here. She's noticed some positive changes recently, but says there's still more to be done.
Shopping for groceries here, some people say, can also be a challenge. Without driving across town, their list of options include convenience stores, dollar stores, a few small shops, or this one H-E-B.
That H-E-B doesn't necessarily have all of the healthiest options.
I'll go over to the one on Almas, or I'll either go to Central Market to get groceries because that's where the freshest food is.
Both say they'd like to have either better or more choices closer to home. However, community and city leaders say attracting that kind of new business has been a struggle.
We could go to Houston, we could go to Detroit, we could go to Chicago, we can go to any place in the United States, and that same scenario would play out.
Dr. Terrence Green with UT Austin's Education Department has conducted numerous studies on inner city communities. He says research shows there are inequalities intentionally baked into the system, affecting all areas of life, including nutrition.
Color of your skin, where you live, and how much money you have, it shapes the access of food that you have.
This area has been in need of support for probably my lifetime.
To fill in the good food gap here, Fred Flukers jumped at the chance 8 years ago to help start up Gardopia Gardens. It's like a tiny farm in the big city on what used to be a neighborhood trouble spot.
Even though it isn't a large-scale operation, community members come in here all the time and pick fresh produce and come get eggs from our chicken coop.
It's just one way, he says, to plant seeds of health and hope in this neighborhood. Others continue to hope for a different harvest.
Of course, a Trader Joe's would be nice.
Maybe one of those neighborhood Walmarts would be great.
Katrina Weber joins us now. Katrina, what does H-E-B say about this?
Well, in an emailed statement, a spokeswoman told me that H-E-B actually has spent millions at that particular store just 2 years ago, multi-million-dollar project where they added things like new cases, new display cases, and 1,000 new products, which they say also does include many organic selections.
Yeah.
So.
Neighbors still looking for more options, though.
They
it
are.
seems.
They are.
Katrina, thanks for being here at the Carver with us. Not your first time on this stage.
No,
Used to be in performances here.
I wish we had more time. We'd let you
Right? We could talk a little bit more about that because there is so much to say about this very building. So much history in the Carver and Dignowity Hill here. The building itself, both inside and out. We'll focus on the Carver story in just a bit, looking at how it has contributed to the preservation of Dignowity Hill and how it is still acting as a hub for connection here. Those connections, though, they go beyond just this center. They go beyond neighbor to neighbor. They're also being made with the San Antonio Police Department.
Yeah, it's how an SAPD officer assigned to the Dignowity Hill. Diggy Hill. How he says he is connecting to the community. Our Danielle Ibarra went on patrol with him as he tried to make some of those connections to Dignowity.
The vest is just one tool in Officer Carlos Gutierrez's arsenal.
We're ready.
But when he's out on the streets, the most important is his charm.
You gotta chill.
Gutierrez is a safe officer in the San Antonio Police Department. He says the last 6 months he's spent in Dignowity Hill are the most rewarding.
Everybody wants a part of Dignowity now. Everyone knows when I'm out there. You know, they recognize me, they see me, they know.
Instead of going from call to call,
everything good?
His job is getting to know people.
I just come to say hi, man.
And learning everything about the neighborhood, including those who call the streets of Dignowity Hill home.
Oh, come on, man. We'll see y'all later, right?
Yes, sir. Gutierrez says many stay around the Hayes Street Bridge.
There's a few people hanging out here in the corner. They're not doing a whole lot.
While some turn the other way.
Y'all been good?
Yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir.
Nobody messing with y'all? What's up, man?
Gutierrez goes right up to them.
How was y'all's Thanksgiving?
It's good.
Good? Good, man?
A lot of food.
Really? Did they take care of y'all over there?
Yeah.
Good.
He makes the unhoused feel seen.
Y'all need anything from us? Every interaction they had with an officer, they thought, oh, they're gonna give me a ticket. Oh, they're gonna arrest me. Oh, they're just messing with me. So when I would come out here, I would talk to them.
Gutierrez says connecting with people takes time and trust.
I treat everybody as if they were my mother, my father, or my brother, or my wife. That's how I talk to people. Hey, how you doing, sir?
And for the first time in his 17-year career, Gutierrez feels like people finally see who he is behind the badge.
It feels good. It feels good. Being on the department, as long as I have been, it feels good. We'll see you.
We actually got to go to a Dignowity Hill Neighborhood Association meeting and meet Officer Gutierrez. Daniela Ibarra joins us now. I mean, the way he treated neighbors and neighborhood leaders, I mean, he was respectful, but you also could tell he wanted to hear what they had to say.
Yeah, he really cares. I mean, during our interview, he almost choked up because he really loves this neighborhood and he's taken the time to get to know people. I mean, you saw it in there. He would literally stop and talk to anyone on the corner.
Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of neighborhoods want. They want to know who their officers are that are patrolling. He is a good example.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes through. Daniela, thank you.
Dignowity.
Dignowity Hill?
Dignowity Hills.
Dignowity Hill.
I always say Dignowity
because we didn't know how to say it at first and somebody corrected us.
Dignowity sounds weird.
I know some people say Dignowity. I was like, I don't know, I'm Southern, so we just kind of roll everything all out at the same time.
Dignowity Hill. Just say it real fast and it won't matter.
Neighbors have described Dignowity Hill as a place that is committed to its history but open to its evolution. And there's a really interesting example of that in two places just blocks from each other.
Yeah, one of which we're standing in right now, the Carver here off of Hackberry, and then there's Velocity, Texas, just a few blocks away, a place focused on innovation and research in the life sciences, biotech. Here's a closer look at both.
There may be people who have no idea that the Carver is here.
Sadly, I think you're right.
The lobby and gallery of the Carver,
So we present or exhibit rather mostly local artists in this space.
Was once the only library open to Black San Antonians.
So that is what the building was named and dedicated as in 1929. It's really important for us to be true to our history and the reason that we exist. I mean, we came into existence because the Black community needed a place where they could be because they weren't allowed to be other places.
Today, the Carver is a multicultural performing and visual arts center.
But we do have an emphasis on celebrating the art forms and artistic expressions of the Black community.
Generations in this neighborhood have gathered here for shows, for dances, even in times of need.
This was also a place where the community could come when there were times of flooding because this area was prone to flooding. The Carver isn't just a place where you can enjoy a show. It really is part of people's history.
In this same neighborhood, a bit of a contrast.
This is our Velocity Innovation Center.
In a shiny new space that's all about the future.
It's got labs and offices and conference rooms, and it's dedicated to help startups be successful.
Various companies, all in the life science industry.
They do stem cell manufacturing.
Even teaching future potential scientists in STEM workshops. Velocity chose Dignowity Hill in part because of its proximity to the city's urban core. This space was created in the old Merchants Ice Complex, which dates back a century.
Do you think that kind of describes an element of Dignowity Hill, you know, on a larger scale, the history that's here, but also the way it's changed and really become something that's got a whole new look for the future in some spots?
Well, yes and no. I kind of feel differently about that. I sure want to maintain kind of the cultural richness of Dignowity, and I really enjoy more the historic kind of past that it has.
It is a tough balance to strike, but Velocity and the Carver tell us they're partners in making it happen.
Not only can you invest in the east side, in this area of town, but you can be successful, you can attract companies, you can create jobs.
There's so much growth happening here, so many people that are coming into the community, as well as those people that have been here all along.
And that's what I loved about profiling both of these places in Dignowity Hill. You might not think they go together on the surface, but the executive director of the Carver here talked about how innovation is a key part of the arts as well as science and technology. So there is space for both of that preservation and progress to exist within blocks from each other.
That's what I was going to say. You wouldn't think that necessarily they go together, but there's
Right.
an energy in this neighborhood that they seem to not only coexist, they seem to cooperate.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. By the way, we are standing on the stage here at the Carver Theater, a place where Ella Fitzgerald, Dizzy Gillespie, Louis Armstrong, Count Basie, Duke Ellington have performed. That is the rich history of this place.
So let's go now to a new place in this neighborhood where we find our Adam Caskey. Sounds like things are brewing well there, Adam.
They are, yes, and people are having a good, it's all smiles here. And one thing you'll notice if you come to Black Laboratory Brewing is the chemistry theme that is running throughout the building, the beers, the names. There's a story behind this. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. You can see the ode to the periodic table here. That's not just for fun. There's reason behind it. We'll get into that. We'll talk to the co-founders and brewers in just a bit. We're live at Black Laboratory Brewery and Restaurant here as well. I mentioned the chemistry theme. There's a lot more behind it, but you'll notice first thing when you look at some of their taps and even the names of the beers. Now, Matthew over here was helping me out. Tell me, it's kind of like periodic table. Tell me what all this means for you.
It's a little science. It's a little beer. So you got the name of the beer. You got like a little elemental symbol. Mm-hmm. So Space Force is SF. It's got the name of the beer, the alcohol by volume, and then the number on there is just going to be like the batch that or the beer that we brewed here. So Bindi has number 1. It was the first beer that we brewed here. Mox is number 2. Lemon Drop is 48.
And so on.
And so on as you go down the line. Yep.
This is the brewing area of the brewery. This is the brewing, and I've got the brewers, the co-founders. I've got Tim and Jeff here with me. Let's start with you, Tim. Tell us about the name, the story behind the name.
Yeah, Black Laboratory Brewing. So, start off with 2 scientists, chemist and microbiologist. I had a Black Lab at the time. It's a Black Laboratory Brewing, and thought about it for a little bit and just clicked.
So, Jeff, what happens when a chemist and a microbiologist become friends?
So clearly beer. It is, we met out of our first job out of college, and Tim had a homebrew kit, and we were just like, well, I like beer, and you like beer, let's start making some beer.
And a lot of science goes into beer. It's a lot of chemistry and microbiology. That's what a lot of people don't understand. This is all science. Okay, we're going to head to break here. While we do, we're going to grab a little bit out of the fermenter that's ready. We'll see you back live at the Carver in a sec.
I love the diversity.
The people that come around here, it's like a super touristic spot.
I love the fact that we have front porches, the fact that I know my neighbors.
It really is an amazing neighborhood.
The vibe mainly that it offers is like very homey.
There is a lot to discover about Dignowity, and we have certainly been doing that over the last few minutes. And I just want to thank all the people that have taken us into their homes, on their porches, just to talk about what they love about Dignowity and some of the concerns they have, because these are really neighbors' stories, neighbors' issues with neighborhood's voice.
More Know My Neighborhood when we come back. Before you go, we want to remind you, if you missed any part of this neighborhood newscast, it is on our website right now. Just head to ksat.com to check out Dignowity Hill's personalized page, where you'll find every story that we showed here tonight.
And one last check-in over at Black Lab Brewery in 2-1-0, where Adam Caskey has been doing his weather all night. We want to thank the people out there for not just letting Adam back in to get a beer, but also for helping us illustrate just how this is a neighborhood on the move.
Science and beer, what more could Caskey love? Thank you to everybody who let us share your stories in this beautiful East Side neighborhood.
It has been a pleasure. The Night Beat, tonight at 10.
Keep up to date with all of San Antonio's top news, weather, and so much more by clicking the like and subscribe buttons below. And once again, thanks for watching KSAT.